We're joined right now on RealAgriculture.com by Bette Jean Crews. She was just elected to her third term as the chairperson for the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, or better known as the OFA. Welcome today, Bette.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah. So, elected to your third term, I'm sure you're very excited about that. What are some of the key priorities that you and your organization will be working on in this term?
Well, we're still going to be working on getting those risk management plans and programs funded by both levels of government that the commodities have been working on. They have them designed now. The provincial minister has said she will fund her 40% if the feds come in with their 60%. And I believe the commodities are going to be asking the province for at least the 40% right now to keep the wolf from the door. And we'll continue to lobby for the federal 60% because it is a Fed program. So we're going to be working on those as kind of short-term solutions, something that will give farmers some bankability as they look into the future. And then we're looking at a national food strategy to actually put agriculture on the map where it needs to be in Canada, because we really are the largest contributor to the economy now, and we have the solutions for the economy, but somehow government is not yet putting agriculture as a priority.
Why do you think that's happening, Bette Jean? Why is agriculture not? Why does it not have a more prominent position in terms of how government looks at it?
Well, we've not been hungry, and the people that went through the Depression, my parents. There's not too many of those 80 and 90-year-olds around now that are reminding us what it's like to do without. And so we've always had food, always had access to food. And gradually, as farms disappear, because we simply cannot compete with what's coming in from other countries that doesn't meet our standards. And as we disappear, good heavens, with the increase in the population that we're going to have by 2050, we need to feed another 2 billion people more than we've got now. So we are really needed, but I don't think yet that government really realizes that we stand right now to lose the strength that we have in agriculture.
So recently, I guess when you announced your running for re-election, you had mentioned that there was a kind of a growing or frustration or anger amongst the OFA membership in terms of with the association. What is that? What was that in regards to?
Well, it wasn't with the association. I think it's a frustration with just simply the lack of action on the part of governments when messages that we have given very succinctly and rationally and costed out, very doable, and yet farmers are still not seeing government come to the forefront. And these farmers have their backs against the wall. They've been tightening belts and cutting corners and not renewing equipment, that kind of thing, to just hang in there for the last number of years. And now we're losing family farms. And once you lose those, you can't get them back.
So, but some people in retort to that, some people in retort to that would say, well, how is that possible? Corn is close to $6. How is this possible?
Well, corn doesn't stand alone. When corn is high, then that's a high input cost for pork. And actually, the thing I'm very proud that we're doing in Ontario is that those commodities are sticking together and saying we need programs that will give us all a return on our investment, cover our costs. Because again, of all the regulatory burden, the costs that bump down to us for that. And so corn price may be high, but the pork price is not, or the input prices are higher. It's all tied together. And we've been in cycles. There's always cycles in every commodity, but we need something that we can plan 10 and 20 years ahead. This living year by year, trying to, pay off the mortgage. It's no way to run a business.
So do you think? Do you think that income stabilization is one of the major would be the number one priority for Ontario farmers?
Well, hey, let's call a spade a spade. The main priority is profits. Everybody says it's a great lifestyle, and it is. Anybody who has, a farm lifestyle and enjoys it, good for them. But we don't do it for lifestyle. It's a business. And so what we need is some kind of a level playing field with the rest of the world that we can make money at this business. And, food comes in, and we don't have enough inspectors on what comes in. But it does generally meet our food safety standards, but it does not generally meet our standards on labor or environment. And yet our consumers, who are very green conscious, and we're working to correct this, but our consumers are not aware that when they're buying something from another country, they are supporting that country's environmental standards and labor standards, not Canada's. And here in Ontario, I've got $10 or $10.50 an hour is a minimum wage. And what is it in China? $2 a day? And that's what the farmers are competing with. I think if the consumer knew that, and knew that they're supporting child labor and they're supporting poverty in other countries, that they'd be a little more aware of the little bit extra that it takes to buy locally and buy Canadian, but the huge amount of extra input the farmers have in producing what we produce.
So what does the Ontario Minister of Agriculture say when you express these concerns?
Well, she agreed fairly early when it was still Minister Dombrowski. She said, design these programs, we'll see what they cost. And from there, we got Minister Mitchell, who said, yes, the province will put in their 40%. This one program that we're designing right now. She said, yes, we'll put in our 40% if the feds will put in their 60. But nobody wants a 40-cent dollar, but like I say, anything will help keep the wolf from the door right now.
Yeah, but, and you mentioned the dollar, and the currency has to just be, based on a lot of the activities of Ontario agriculture, it has to be just crushing some producers.
Well, we're export based on a lot of commodities, and I didn't go through that list of. I guess the average listener in your audience doesn't realize that farmers are not just dealing with weather; we're dealing with climate change, and the U.S. dollar at par. There was something in the newspaper about the Christmas tree industry and the harm it's having to them, and then all the regulations that I just talked about. But we've also had still reeling from the impacts of BSE and H1N1, and I don't know. There's a there's a list that has hit the farmers in the last 10 years that nobody in business could handle this all at once.
So with all those pieces of adversity, do you feel like kind of a national food, based on what I'm hearing, a national food strategy in your mind is a way to kind of put all that behind us and move forward?
I do, because almost every ministry touches agriculture. So anytime the ministry makes a decision on anything, it impacts agriculture. By the same token, we now have an opportunity to make it very obvious to every ministry that agriculture is a solution to the economy, besides a solution to the environment, and the food, then the safe food that we have. So I think generally the public is becoming more aware of that, and I think one by one, a few MPs and MPPs are. And if we can pull that all together, I think we can get government to realize that together we can all we can save the industry and we can save the country at the same time.
I guess to finish up here, what does a national food strategy mean? Like some may make it sound like it makes agriculture more important. Some would take it as it means subsidizing farmers. What to you and the OFA, what does a national food strategy mean?
Well, I can see how most people would jump to the fact that it's subsidizing farmers is one of the solutions. There's, one of the things in it, but it's definitely not. It's an awareness, and it's also building and acting on. It's identifying the gaps that are out there that are making it impossible to do business in Canada in agriculture, and then addressing those gaps, whether it's a regulatory burden or whether it's wages or whether it's lack of places to put factories. I doubt very much that's what it is, but we will identify those gaps and work with the entire chain. It's agriculture includes processing and retail and manufacturing and the whole thing that goes with it. So what we will be doing as we develop this national food strategy is working with everyone in the chain. Say, okay, how can we now share that food dollar so that we can all continue to be in business and still produce the quality, safe food that we produce?
Well, thank you very much, Bette Jean, for joining us today. Good luck in your third term as president, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much, hon.